Hi, welcome to our podcast. I'm so excited to have my friend Priscilla with us today. Priscilla, tell us about your homeschool journey, how old your kids are, and how long you've been doing this.
Okay. So I started homeschooling in 2019, exactly a year before the pandemic. I started homeschooling. That's about how many years ago now? More than, what is that, 6? That's right, because I've not turned more than a year. So about 6 years I've been homeschooling now. In the very beginning, I was very insecure about whether or not I could do this. I did it out of pure obedience. When the Lord was like, you need to homeschool your son, I was just like, okay. And I just went full in. But I was very insecure. So I actually did like an online curriculum that I had followed at first. I felt like, okay, still, you're still trying to figure things out. And then I decided to actually do the online schooling, like the K-12. I did that, which was very helpful in the beginning, considering where we were and what we were coming from. But I got to the point where I was like, this is not homeschooling. So it served its purpose. I'm grateful. But now I have to actually put my hands and feet all in and like homeschool him all the way and not just be not be dependent, because that wasn't this. The online schooling is not the same as homeschooling. He had to be at the computer. He had to report to a teacher and be in class twice a day on top of all the schoolwork that they were giving him. He was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. I knew that this was not the goal. So
it got you started.
Right. It got exactly, because he had fallen behind in the public school system. He started kindergarten already knowing how to read, but they were so focused on his behavior. They made him out to seem like he was a problem behavior wise. And when he went into kindergarten, he was already at a level B or level C reading. And when he left, when I pulled him out in the middle of the year, he was still at the same exact level that I brought him in. And that's when I knew, it's time to go. So I brought him home, started homeschooling, teaching him myself, and his reading level jumped. I can't even remember. I remember like rejoicing. It jumped to like H or something like that by the end of the year.
Awesome.
It had jumped tremendously. So
awesome.
So that was the beginning.
And he's in what grade now?
He is now in the 6th grade. I pulled him out when he was in kindergarten.
Okay. And now you also have another one you're homeschooling.
Yes.
Right? You have one in kindergarten as well.
Yep. So now Adonijah is, I guess technically he's more so in the 1st grade. And it's so funny because the homeschooling teaches you that all your children are different. They learn differently. They're different personalities. They're different temperaments. And he fooled me. Last year, I thought, okay, he's technically not ready for kindergarten because he just did not care for the alphabets and the sounds and things like that. And that was like throughout the year. He just wasn't really being very responsive when I was trying to teach him certain things. And towards the very end of the school year, he just all of a sudden started like sounding out he remembered the sounds, he remembered the letters. I have this like Hooked on Phonics book that I follow. He's like reading the words and I'm like, what in the... So his math is like at a 1st grade level. And we're working on the reading. So yes, technically
and see, that's the beautiful thing about homeschool too, is he doesn't have to fit in a box of you're this age, therefore you're this grade and you're doing this level work.
That's
love
right.
it. I love it. So you just do what works for each individual child at the level they're at.
I'm very big on, okay, where are you struggling? Let's focus on that. And I emphasize to them all the time. I said, listen, if you were in public school, they would be throwing all these subjects at you. Right now, I'm just concerned with your math, your reading, and your writing. Those things are like crucial. And then we can take it from there. We can do science, and we can do extra things. But I realize, I recognize that my kids are they're very creative. So like they both started doing stop motion. And so I'm like, yeah, we can focus on that. That's probably why they're both so good at math. We can focus on the creative side. My oldest, he's very good with the piano. So we're
Tell
doing
everybody what stop motion is before we go any further.
so
Explain that. That's
that
cool.
right. So I wouldn't know how to do it, but they just came and showed it to me, and I was like, "What is this?" It's amazing. They take pictures, but they're
Yes.
moving. In this case, they're doing Legos, so it's Lego stop motion, and they take the Legos and they position them where, and then they take pictures. So when they put all the pictures together, they are moving. Like it looks like an actual video. It looks like characters. Yeah, and then he does the voiceover so that he tells like a story, or he has the characters, speaking. It blows my mind. And he's Lord, how old is he? He's 10. It was 10. He was like 10 when he started this. The youngest was 5, and 5 or 6. So yeah, I'm recognizing what they are really, really good at. And I'm gonna focus in those areas as far as like other subjects and creativity and things like that.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So tell me what activities or groups you guys participated in, because that's one of the questions is about homeschool and socialization. So what do you guys do besides sit at your house and homeschool?
Yes. So in the beginning, when it was just us in the beginning, I took them out a lot. Like we would go to the park a lot. My oldest is a social butterfly. And so he would go to the park and he would immediately make friends. We also went to like the museum, I was taking them to Imaginon a lot. And Imaginon here in Charlotte is this huge library, but it's just so much more than a library. It has a theater. It also has like these areas that are for specific age groups. So you have the areas that are for the toddlers, you have the areas that are for the preteens, and you have the area that is that has like the Legos and all that. So yeah, that's But and then because the Lord told me to homeschool, I said, okay, Lord, my oldest is a social butterfly. I did not want to just have them, trapped inside these walls. So I had prayed about that. I said, Lord, we need a way to socialize with peers and things like that. And we were presented with the homeschooling co-op. And so we do the homeschooling co-op twice a week. And that is also another way that we're able to socialize. We also have friends that homeschool. So we actually meet at each other's homes. During the summer, we did a Bible study with all the kids, and we would meet at whomever's home we would meet at. And that's another way that they socialize. And then, of course, sports. My 11-year-old, he's in basketball. We've put him in basketball. He's now doing, I guess, like one-on-one training with basketball. Okay. So
yeah. So y'all are not sitting at home bored all the time.
No, and I am an extrovert, so I cannot sit at home. I will figure out a way to get out of the house.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So do you guys have a Bible verse or a mission statement or just an overarching goal for your homeschool? You said this is what God told you to do, but do you have like a guiding verse or something?
I'll be honest, I did not have one that I said, okay, this is it. But when you asked me, there's two things that came to mind. In my house, we have a sign right here that says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So our number one goal is that this house is going to serve the Lord. But the next thing that came to mind is just simply the commission that was left for every believer. If I can't, I heard this a while ago from someone. If I can't make disciples, I'm birthing disciples. So my mission is to simply just disciple my children.
That's great.
That's my mission, to just disciple my children. My prayer is that they know the Lord for themselves. They hear the gospel, receive salvation. And it's not that they are doing something because mom and dad says so. I want it to be so personal. And so for us, the mission is to live out the commission. It is to preach the gospel to every creature and to baptize them and to teach them to do the same. And my children have witnessed that. And so.
Yes, I love it. I love it. That's a great mission statement. Yeah, I don't think I started with a mission statement either, but I feel like I've got a vision now. It's okay as long as we know where we're going.
Right.
Eventually, we'll get there. So, and I already asked you about homeschooling and why you started homeschooling. So tell me something that you've learned in your homeschool journey, something like a lesson that you've learned through this process.
Um, uh, so I think the first thing that comes to mind is to not put yourself or your children inside of a box. So when we think of homeschooling, we have to remove ourselves from the public school system. Our homeschooling cannot be a duplication. I don't know if that's a word.
Right.
We cannot duplicate the classroom and this is coming from someone who both of my parents retired as teachers. My sister is currently a teacher. I studied psychology to become a
I
school
was a public school
psychologist.
teacher, so I get you. Yes.
So this was my life. Like this was my background. Everything I did involved school, teaching in one way or another. And the Lord refused to and I'm just talking to you now. I look back at my life. I wanted to get into the school system and he refused to open that door for me. And I remember I got to the place where I surrendered and I was like, well, Lord, okay, you have me at Target, you have me in retail, have your way. And he literally did. He had his way, but he was training me. And I look back now and I recognize that he was training me. He was teaching me how to run a department and just the business aspect of it, and then just the people aspect of it. You got to know who you're talking to and how to teach your audience, and everybody learns like anyways. So I say that as someone who's coming from the system anyways, the school system, but we learn every day all day long. And so I remember in the beginning I had a hard time because I put a lot of pressure on myself. I was just very anxious. I was just kind of all over the place. But prayer, right? Pray first. Pray first. Pray, seek the Lord's face. Just live life in front of your children, and then pray and ask the Lord like how to, because you do need routine. That's important. You want to have some form of routine. Children thrive off of routine and structure. Now,
Yes.
they don't thrive off of like military, something
There needs
military.
to be some flexibility. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There has to be flexibility. You have to also recognize, oh, this is a big one. You have to recognize, like, just read the room, read the atmosphere. If you're frustrated, your child is frustrated. I came to a place where I learned we're gonna pray. We're going to pray. We're going to worship. Like I'm not going to get stuck on, I have to get this lesson done right now. Nope.
Yes.
We're going to deal with whatever emotion is going on right now. We deal with that first, and then we can continue, or we can do this another day. So freedom.
Yes, that's so good. Yes.
Freedom and flexibility, our children, children overall just suffer from anxiety. And really you have to think about just the way our society pushes specific type of lifestyles. Everything is just too much. It's just too much. It's too much on the mothers. It's too, oh no, boy. It's too much on even fathers. Like it's too much. But the point is that we have more freedom, more flexibility when you're homeschooling.
Yes. I love what you said. You said routine. So you didn't say schedule. All right. Yes. At 9:00 we do this. At 9:30 we do this. At 10:30 we do this. But you said a routine. So we're going to do this first. And when it's finished, it'll be about this time. And we go to that thing. And that's what I love is a routine. And you've got the flexibility in that. And then if you need, okay, it's a snack break time because, everybody's acting hangry now. Or let's stop, let's worship, or let's pray, or whatever we need to do because I'm reading the room and this isn't going to work to keep going. Right. No, I planned for you to do 3 math sheets today, but it's not working out. So we're going to have to change that up. And then there's other days it's like, oh, you did 5 and I didn't even notice. So being flexible is so important. I love all of that. So, and you kind of answer the next question too, tips for new people. That summed all of that up. Is there a mistake that you made through this journey? Because you've been doing this, you said 6 years. So you've been doing this. Is there a mistake you've made and what have you learned from that?
I guess the question is, what mistake did I not make? I mean, I think overall mistakes is inevitable, but that's how we do learn. I think I kind of touched on it. I think in the beginning I was trying to schedule things. I was kind of like over scheduling. I was just putting too much. Um, I think my biggest mistake, you know what? My biggest mistake was not seeking the Lord's face first. I will say that. There we go. That was my biggest mistake, right? I said, yes, Lord. I said, I did it. I stepped into obedience. And then it was like, now what? But then I forgot to go back to him. Like, I did not go back to
Sort of
him.
figuring it out of your own
Yeah,
instead of saying, how do you do it?
just the figuring out part. Or even when I was overwhelmed, I don't recall like going to him first before making daily decisions in the very beginning. And eventually I got to that point. But I think one of my mistakes was not continuing to ask him after I said yes to the first thing. Then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, then what's the next thing? So it was not asking the Lord, okay, what's next, and waited. And it was also kind of like what I said about the kind of like expecting the homeschooling to kind of look like the structure of the public school.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite subject?
my
teach.
favorite subject?
Yes, yours. What's your favorite thing to teach?
Well, I love history. I'm a history head,
Okay.
which I think makes sense why I love like just the Bible and like Bible stories and
Yeah. There's a
yeah.
whole lot of history lessons right there.
Right. So I love history. I do enjoy math and I do
Okay.
enjoy reading. So
Okay.
yeah.
So okay, all the basics there.
Yeah.
All right, good. That makes it easy for you. That makes it easy. So what is, I mean, you've been doing this a while, your best homeschool memory so far? Is something that pops out, is just that was a great one.
Huh. Honestly, it's supposed to be homeschool memory, but the first thing that came to my mind was my children getting baptized by their own choice. Like it wasn't, it was them coming to us. It was them coming to us. And so the fact that we were able to, but I feel like that came from the fact that I'm homeschooling them. And so they are just watching the gospel, like live action. Yeah, I think that's what comes to me because it's been a prayer of mine. Like I had asked since they were like in my womb, I was just asking the Lord for them to have an encounter. That's literally my prayer. Lord, let them have an encounter with you at an early age. Specifically, I said at an early age so that they would come to know you, receive salvation. And I got to see it. And I even doubted, like, I was just like, are you sure? Do you understand the gospel? Like, do you understand what you're saying yes to? And I will share this. My 6-year-old, he said to me, I said, do you understand, what you're saying yes to? And he said, well, if Jesus, no, yeah, he said, if Jesus didn't die on the cross, then there would be thousands of crosses. And like, I just stepped back and that blew my mind because that is how he understands the gospel, is that one man died on the cross for all these people that should have died. That blew my mind. And I said, you know what, Lord, I prayed for this. And I feel like homeschooling them has allowed that prayer to, come to pass because they're with me all day. They see me like praying and worshiping and discipling others, and homeschooling has given us that freedom because they're not at school all day long. They're with me, throughout the day. So
and that for us, it's hard to see where does homeschool end and where does life begin. It's all one thing. There are times that yes, we sit at the table and work, but there's times that we're learning and it's completely separate from sitting at the table with a book. And because it's all us all the time, we do get all of those beautiful moments, and it's just part of the homeschool experience. Everything is part of learning, and life is part of homeschool, and homeschool is part of life. And so I love that. I really love that. All right, last question is, what impact, and you've already kind of said this, but what impact has homeschooling had on your family? The biggest impact.
Well, I will say this, flexibility. I think it's the flexibility, because I look back, and just the freedom to be able to I was able to go to the Dominican Republic in like March, I think it was. And it was very pivotal because I went, and my not knowing that I would lose my grandmother in August. So the timing was just like, because the Lord said so, and because I'm homeschooling, I had the freedom to my children come with me. And
Yes.
I know it's not impossible, but when they're in public school, you're technically
You
not allowed.
miss a lot.
Not,
Yeah.
yeah, they would also miss a lot of schoolwork or things like that. So I think for me overall, it's just the flexibility. I have been able to travel to different places to be with family, because I'm not originally from Charlotte. I don't have my family here. And I look back and I'm like, we've traveled at all, weird times of the year.
Yes,
Because
that's another homeschool benefit for sure.
yeah,
I love that.
the flexibility and the freedom.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Those are big benefits for all of us. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Priscilla. I really appreciate your sharing your story with us, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody next time.
Thank you.